Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Last Act podcast with my co-host Carlos Rodriguez. This week we have our good old friend from middle school, Adin Curran. He is the biggest rock star that I know. Very good friend of mine, very good friend of Carlos's. Carlos, would you care to introduce Adin to the audience for us?
Yes, Adin is a good friend of mine. I owe a lot of who I am to this guy. I've known him since I want to say fifth grade. It's a funny situation how we met, and we ever since I met him, I knew this guy was something special. Like Brandon said, he is a rock star. If you know him, you know that is true. I mean, this guy, if you know anything about him, you know that he's really into his rock gig, and it's something that really sets him apart from the rest. He's into his stuff, he's into his art, and just an incredible dude. Adin, how are you?
Uh, I'm all right, to be honest. From the past, I'm doing better.
You look better, my guy. You look very good.
Thank you. Right? Don't I look sexy?
Model in the
Absolutely.
making.
You do.
Model in the making.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, sort of start this off. I know that you have acquired the game that everybody's talking about right now. It's a very controversial game at the moment. So I kind of want to hear from you. How is Cyberpunk 2077?
Well, to, to simply put it, I've waited 6 years
there.
for this game. Yeah, I've waited 6 years for this game. Okay, I heard about it a year after it was announced at E3. After they were done announcing, The Witcher 3, which I'm also a big fan of that. I'm just a big fan of CD Projekt Red in general. They make good ass games. But I've waited 6 years for this. And other than the fact that my last gen console can't really handle it, it's great. It's phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie. I got attached to one of the characters in here, and for the people who are going to be watching this, they know who I'm talking about. And I cried like a little baby. Not gonna lie. This has been the first game to actually make me cry. And all in all, it's just a great experience so far. But right now, I'm currently in the middle of just getting the amount of side quests that are in here. I will say it's side quests are the majority of these games like Cyberpunk because they're RPGs. They're role playing games. They make you go out, earn your stuff. Really get into it and just explore. It's an open world game. You have all these things that you just go around and do, but a lot of people are giving it flack because they're like, "Oh, why did they release the game if they know it had a couple bugs?" Well, to be fair, no game's going to be perfect at launch, no matter how many times they delay it and rework it. It's not going to be perfect. There's occasionally going to be a bug here and there, and so to that I thank CD Projekt Red for finally releasing this. I thought I would never get this because I pre-ordered it back in February for $69. And it got delayed like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, I just might go get my money back. And then they're like, all right, official date. It's the 9th or 10th. Good luck. But
Right.
really great game. I can tell they've the 7 years of development that this game's been under has really paid off. Like I said, my console can barely even handle it because it's the last gen, but for what it is, it's still good. It's even though people are giving it flack and whatnot because they're like, "Ooh, my graphics aren't that good." It's like, just trade in your old console and get the new gen, bro. Come on, it's not that hard. You got legs, get up, use them.
I'll tell you this, it certainly looks promising. Like I'm not, like something about it just sort of like gave me looked very appealing. Like you look at the trailer and you see like Keanu Reeves, and I'm like, oh my god, this looks like something I'd have a good time playing. But it like also, I mean, when the reviews came in, I was like, really? I mean, but what really upset me the most was how they really advertised it for the PS4 and the Xbox.
Yeah.
But once you get there, it's like, oh my god, this sucks. Like I personally, like I said, I've never played it. I did mention it to Brandon before in the past that it looked promising. But yeah, I mean, at least it's good to have something to look forward to. Whether
Yeah,
that be a
like
video game or
yeah,
a movie, it's always special to hold something that you're looking for.
and that's the thing is even though like it's getting a butt ton of bad reviews, it's all about how you experience the game. You yourself have to base it off of what you feel about the game. It's stuff like this where the saying "I don't give a shit what you think, it's my experience" comes in. So and I've been doing that, and everybody's like, well, you've waited like 6 years for the game and you're playing it. I played it and I've only been waiting a month and it kind of sucks. I'm like, well, it's because you're not, you're not seeing the whole picture for what it is or what their ambitions were for this game. If anything, this game's been hyped for 7 years, and I can't stress that enough. Like, it's been hyped for 7 years, and to for me, it lived up to its hype. It's everything I could have asked for in a game. Like, it's immersive. You cool little thing too. Whenever you're in the storyline and you feel like there's going to be, somebody who is going to be a problem later down the road, you could just pull your gun on them and eliminate them from the whole picture. They're no longer a problem.
That's
And now that I
hilarious.
look right, and now that I look back on it, I'm like, can I restart the game? I need to go back, but I can. I'm already like too deep in the game.
That's what I've
But
been
other,
interested into the game because I honestly haven't paid much attention to the reviews or anything.
yeah,
Um, Mainly because I don't want to be spoiled when eventually I do get the game. Um,
hmm
what the 7 years of development, number one, interested me because when a studio takes that amount of time to develop a game, it's almost impossible to fuck it up. So I knew
yeah,
it was going to be a great game from the get-go. And then from hearing what the game is going to be about recently, especially, I heard that um, the story aspect is going to be so dynamic that you could, like you said, kill anybody you want, and then their entire story
yeah.
will be removed from the main story, and that um, I don't know the right word, but that
Yeah.
deep thought into the gameplay is something I've never seen
Mhm.
before. I mean, a similar game is like Skyrim, obviously,
Yeah.
but and you have all these main quests and all these side quests to do whatever you want, but ultimately all those characters are going to stay alive no matter what you do. So to see a
Yeah.
game that's like that and you could kill like whoever you want
Yeah.
and it actually affects the story, I mean, it's not a new idea. It just hasn't been done before, and
Yeah.
that's why
It's
I'm really interested in that game.
yeah, and I'm glad they did that. I mean, you can do that in like maybe two other games that I'm thinking about, but they really applied it here. They were like, all right, we're gonna focus on this for a little bit, then we'll get back to the main game. So like, I'm not gonna spoil it or anything, but there's a mission, okay, and you have their huge heist, and that's I'm like I said, I'm just leaving out the bigger details. I'm just doing small shit that doesn't really matter. Say, you're kind of in this place, you're undercover, you don't you get asked a certain question, and sometimes when you get asked certain questions, there's a time bar, and it like you literally have to think on the fly sometimes, but most times it'll just let you sit there and really contemplate, okay, should I say this? How's it going to affect me later down the line? And that's the thing. My family tells me I have a very analytical mind, so I always think things through before I actually do it. And so when I was choosing the dialogue, I had to go between like three options, and and if you don't choose quick enough, like I said, some of them have time, bars, some of them don't, and this one didn't have a time bar. and since it was taking me a minute to respond, the character I was talking to goes, "Come on, I ain't got all day," and I was like, "Shut up!" Like, like, bro, shut up! I'm sitting here with my controller, like, shut up, dude. I'm trying to choose the right decision, and then like a minute later, I'm like, "Okay, I got it." And then the whole dialogue, but like, yeah, no, but for that heist mission, like, yeah, it was a time bar, and you had to like really think on the fly for it. And I just eventually was like, it's going south, and just drew my weapon real quick. And but yeah, that's what I like about it is when I mean it's immersive, it really, not only is it immersive, but it really makes you think. It's I like to think of the game as it's a mix of Skyrim, Call of Duty, the Telltale series games, and the Witcher series combined into this futuristic package of just goodness. And it's
That yeah, I mean that just sounds promising, and yeah, it's good to hear positive feedback from somebody who's played it because I mean, like I'm very much like Brandon, who well, actually, I'm not really sure if this is how Brandon is. We might, I don't know where I got this, but like I like to keep my own opinion on things, like sort of like be true to myself and be honest, which Brandon is very honest.
yeah.
And yeah, that's why I'd rather, I think a lot of it has to do with dialogue, like sort of like talking to a good friend, like, oh, how was this movie? And then, you sort of like dissect the movie, like, oh, it was good, except, maybe this certain actor didn't do this sort of thing, or maybe he did do this sort of thing that he's already done way too much. So it's like, yeah, I think it all really depends on the dialogue, but it's definitely good to
Yeah.
hear that you're enjoying it. That's what
Yeah.
we as gamers love to hear, is what another
Yeah.
bro is enjoying a game. So
And that's the
shout
thing.
out to you for that.
Thank you. And that's the thing. Most of the people who do review them are like, or play them and give feedback, are just game journalists, dude. Literally, I could give you a brief description of how a game journalist plays it. Gets like maybe 15 minutes into the game. Nothing's big happening. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Wouldn't recommend. Like, that's how they do it. Like when
Right.
Doom Eternal came out, the amount of bad reviews for it kind of
Yeah.
made me chuckle.
I mean, it's not just like games. I mean, it's everything. It's like
Yeah.
these people who, sort of like, and this might sound hypocritical because I myself, I'm very like I'm very expressive with what I watch and what I digest.
Yeah.
And it's like sort of like maybe critiquing the new movie that came out, like for example, Run. It's like, yeah, sure, I didn't enjoy it, but who am I to talk? Like I've never put my art
Yeah.
out there, like a fully complete, finished, polished art. Like it's never been out there. So who am I to judge another artist? So I think that plays into, I mean, sort of anything. You can't really judge until you've place yourself in those shoes. But yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Brandon?
Well, yeah. I mean, do you agree with that statement? I mean, do you think that like in order to truly critique something and beat the living hell out of it, like do you think you yourself have to subject yourself to whatever it is that you're critiquing?
I think to properly critique anything or review anything, you would have to see it all the way through. What I mean by that, if you're reviewing a game, you got to play the whole game. If you're reviewing a movie, you got to watch the whole movie. If you're reading a book, reviewing a book, you got to read the whole book. Because if you're just reading a partial or watching a partial or playing a partial of whatever it is, then you're not going to get the full experience, and thus you're not going to give a thorough review. Now, if you're a credited reviewer, then people are going to take what you say and take it as truth. When in reality, if you just, for example, I'm just going to stick to games. If you just play a quarter to a half of a game, you're not even going to reach the climax yet. So how do you even know if it's, the story is even good? I mean, I think I agree with Aiden that most reviewers kind of take that shortcut of not playing the whole thing. But there are other people who do play the whole thing, like uh, the YouTube channel Game Ranks. They review a whole shit ton of games, and the person who does that show actually plays the games. And then you can, if I needed a review, I would go to him, just because I know he actually plays all of the games all the way through. Um, and I think if you're wanting to look for a review, you can't go on like Yelp or something, or whatever, wherever all of the reviews are, and look at what are the first things you see. I think you have to actually find a credited reviewer who actually, you know, reads the whole book or plays the whole game, and then you can genuinely trust that opinion.
True, true, yeah. And also it always comes down to taste. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe something that you'll enjoy the hell out of, maybe your fellow Anthony Fantano might not. So it's it
Hi,
all really
Anthony
has to
Fantano here.
right. So yeah, it all has to do with taste. But I mean, yeah, it's fun to talk about all these video games and stuff. But something that was really heartwarming when I reached out to you, because I know there was there's always like a period between when we connect with each other again. It's something that was really great to hear was that you're sort of like taking care of yourself. You're sort of taking
Yeah.
care of yourself mentally and all this sort of stuff. How is that process like? How is it going for you?
Well, right now it's I'm kind of on the rough about it. I'm on the rocks a little bit. I'm doing it, but it's a little rough because it's just a lot of dealing with myself, and I'm a person who's had like clinical like depression for like ever. I've I know like people who like remember me, like from school are like, "Hmm, he's a fun guy, whatever, does funny stuff. Hey, that's how I remember him, But it's a lot of the time. One thing that I was probably shouldn't, be taught was to bottle up emotions and bottle up things, and that's what I have a problem with. It's because I, especially with my childhood, it was and just up until now, it was just so much shit for me, and I'm just now trying to find a way to cope with it and deal with it and just try to focus really on myself and my brain, because you only got one brain. You got to keep it healthy, can't let it deteriorate. And what I mean right now, when I'll put it as a self-care journey. On my self-care journey, like I said, it's kind of rough right now, and my mother's trying to help me out, but I don't really want her help for it when I really should be letting her help me, but I really don't want the help because I'm doing it myself. I'm really like I'm really just setting everything aside and focusing on myself. Right? Yeah, I still do music and whatnot. I've just what I do is I like set music aside. I set like everything aside, and I just focus purely on myself because I think we can all agree we've been shit hit the fan this year. We've all been through some stuff this year. Yeah. I saw Brandon do the like that. Uh, and but I'm not trying to single myself out and be like, well, my year was shittier. I think I've been a little bit through more, than the average, person of 2020 has gone through, and especially the years that have racked it up on me and taken its toll, is just really but it's right now. I'm in a place where uh, I'm kind of accepting myself. That's one thing. You got to learn accept yourself before you can go out and start accepting others. You have to find yourself and then go find others, and then you make more connections and have stronger bonds. So that's currently what I'm trying to do.
That's sorry to cut you off there, but that's I heard something like that today, is like before, but it was different. It's more about loving. It's like before you can love others, you must love yourself.
Yeah,
And
you must.
right.
You
I think
always
that's
gotta love
something we should really keep in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
But
that's don't get me wrong, I love my mother. Okay, she's 42. You know, she's been through a lot. I was there with her a lot of the time. She's been through shit. And that's how I got put through it. But and I forgive her for that. You know, it wasn't her fault for getting me in these situations. It's just how life rolls. You know, but I don't really think my mom fully grasped what having depression is like. You know, and at certain points, I just want to be left alone. I don't want to have, you know, I just don't want to talk. And it's that simple. But then when she tries to come and talk to me, I get she's trying to be a caring mother, but all I ask is that she just, you know, stays away for like an hour and a half, you know, so I can just be alone and think, because that's what I do. I think. I don't do anything else. I think. I always am thinking about something. There's always something on my brain. And there's that occasional when somebody's like, "Hey, what are you thinking?" And I go, "Nothing. I'm actually thinking about nothing." But I'll just want to be left alone. I just turn off the lights in my room, close the shades, and a lot of people are like, you know, for the people who are going to hear this, they're going to be like, "That sounds like self-isolation. That's a no-no." You'd be right. It's a big no-no, but it's something that actually helps and works with me. You know, I just kind of dim the lights a little. Explains why I'm like hella white, because I'm always in the dark. But I hook up to a Bluetooth speaker and just play a band called Slow Dive. They're very atmospheric in it. And it's funny because whenever my mom comes in, she's like, "Oh, this sounds very depressing. Are you sure this isn't escalating it?" I'm like, if anything, it's not really escalating. It's conveying that emotion. And it's in fact helping me with it. And music is, and that's what I was telling her. Music isn't there to make you feel depressed. It's there to make you feel that connection with the emotion of the song.
Damn, yeah. Real shit, real shit. I mean, without a doubt, I think we sort of have like a misconception on depression. You know, like many people do think it's just feeling down and, you know, sitting in the corner all grumpy, which is not that. You know, I feel like it varies. I feel like it varies on the person. You know, whether you're a very whether you're somebody who's an entertainer, you know, who loves to keep others happy, whether it, you know, that costs you your own happiness. And I think that's where it really varies. But it's also sort of nice to have all these art forms that can really express what you can't express yourself. You know, like you said, music, and I feel you too. I mean, right now I'm listening to the new Kid Cudi. If you know me, you know that that's something that I'm forever gonna ride with Cudi, because it's always nice to hear yourself and your emotions just put in a song. But yeah, you mentioned something that was very interesting. Oh, damn it, I already forgot. But yeah, so,
It's okay. When you don't think of it, it'll come back.
right, dude, definitely, dude. We're like we're gonna finish the episode. I'm like, oh wait, before we end, let's talk about depression again.
Hey, before we end, hold up.
No, but yeah, but it's great to hear from a good friend, you know, who's also going through like, and I'm not gonna talk about myself just because I mean, there's, yeah, but it's always good to hear that somebody who you admire and love and respect can also, you know, be a human at the end of the day and go through all of these sorts of hardships and still come out with a smile on your face, which is who you are. If people know Aiden, they know that he's always has a smile on his face, and he makes sure to put a smile on others' faces, which is, you know, something that I really admire about you, man. So for that, you know, praises, praises, praises.
Yeah. I also, I don't know if the word is amend or commend. I don't know. But I appraise you for, you know, taking the time to work on yourself. I think for anyone who is down in this year especially, I mean, I'm sure most everybody was down at some point. Chances are you did not work for a while. Chances are you didn't have school for a while. And then when it all came back, you're freaking out or whatever. My coach always told me that when everyone isn't doing anything, it's the best time for you to do something. Which means, in our case, for an example, the weight room was shut down for most to every single sports program, but our school allowed us to work out under these certain different guidelines. So we were the only team in the state who was allowed to work out in the weight room. So we took that opportunity to get better. So when someone takes the opportunity to get better while everyone else is kind of in la la land, that means you're going to put yourself ahead of the crowd. So I think instead of everyone getting sad about, their life sucks and 2020 sucks,
Hmm.
since you're kind of almost
Yeah.
having so much free time since everything is shut down, take that time to work on yourself. Take that time to realize, hey, this is
Yeah.
something that is wrong and work on ways to fix it. I think now more than ever is a golden opportunity for self-improvement.
Yeah. Like I'll agree with the thing that your coach said. Even if there's nothing going on, there's always something to do, and that's my grandpa's kind of the embodiment of that. He's like 83, 84. I don't know. I lose track of people's ages sometimes, but and he's a workhorse around this damn house. And whenever I try to ask him, hey, I'm gonna help you with this, he's like, oh, I got it, I got it. Got it." But like when there's nothing to do, like he could just be like sitting there on the couch, kind of dozing off, watching the show, and then he'll go, "I gotta work on something," and then he just gets up and leaves. Like he always has these ideas coming to his head because he does art. He does like fountains, stuff like that for people, businesses. He gets paid, good money for it, and so he's always off working on something. And even when he's like just taking a quick power nap, he'll immediately get right back up and say, even though there's nothing to do, damn it, I'll make there something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I would go to your house, I saw that, like
Yeah.
we'd be chilling in where you are right now, and all of a sudden, like your
Garage.
grandpa's just passing in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like walking in and out, like he has like some tools in his hand or whatever. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, that's also very admirable. Just because I also have a figure in my life who's like that. My dad, who's like constantly looking for something to fix, and it's something that because the thing with me is that whenever I look at something, I sort of want to look at it like in a philosophical way. Like are they doing that because they enjoy it, or are they doing that to like distract themselves from something?
Yeah.
So it's sort of like something that you can like look and like because there's always more to it. But it's great to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that distracting yourself with stuff that you enjoy is a good way
Yeah.
to help cope with all these sorts of issues. But yeah, I know Brandon sort of like touched on his interest in football. I kind of want to touch on yours. I know that, like I mentioned before, you're committed to the guitar. Um,
Hmm.
Forgive me if I sound very illiterate with it, because I mean I'm
Go for it.
that's not my thing, but I still
Yeah.
again respect you for that. But yeah, also like I wanted to ask you, when you do pick up your guitar, are you like do you see your emotions sort of like translating to whatever song or whatever you're working on right there?
Okay. Hold up. If you don't mind, I'm actually going to take that out of the case real quick and I'll give an
Go
example.
ahead.
Yeah, if you guys are
Go
cool
ahead.
with
Go
that.
ahead. Dude, look at that glorious hair right
I
there.
was
Oh my
just about to
god.
say, look at that glorious
Dude,
mane of
come
hair.
on. Come on. I
Dude,
think
just
he's been growing it since like
from middle
seventh
school.
grade, I think, right? Yeah, dude. Oh my god. I actually saw a picture of the two of us, and it's dude. I have to show you. Dude, we might have to post it on Instagram. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, just the difference of his hair
Uh,
from middle school to now is
dude, we
Oh,
were
yeah.
just
mind-blowing.
talking about your majestic head of
Oh,
hair there.
oh, thanks. Yeah.
How long did that take you to grow out?
Well, to grow out to this length, since I had to keep cutting off like the dead ends and whatnot, I'd say maybe like 4 months. But to get it to this length without like cutting off any dead ends, say takes about 3. Boom, and it's this long.
That's insane.
God, that is
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Speaking of weird and fast hair genetics, whenever I shave, not even 2 hours after, scruff comes back in. That just tells you
Oh,
that. But oh yeah, back to the subject. Whenever I pick this up, this
that's nice.
beautiful piece of craftsmanship made by man itself, like, okay, I'm whenever I pick this up, there's little to no emotion when I pick this up. When I pick this up, this is an attachment of me. This is me. I'm not making it my personality. I'm just saying this is me. I become connected one with this, and there's, no such thing as, worry, fear, or anything when I pick this up. When I pick this up, everything goes away. This is an escape. This is, if not the, kind of want to say it's kind of like heaven if it did exist. Excuse me, that was my nihilistic tendencies coming out. But
I definitely get that feeling though, because especially with me for track, it's
yeah,
when I'm focused on the race ahead, it's like every bad decision I had goes away. Every doubt
yeah,
that I had in my mind goes away. Everything that even all the good things that was going in my mind at that moment goes away. It's all about me and putting one step in front of the other in a race. So when you're saying like it's not, I'm releasing emotion, it's me becoming attached with what's me. I
yeah,
honestly relate with that so much with track. And I
yeah.
think
And
anyone
when
should feel that emotion. They should find
yeah,
whatever makes that feeling and do it. Because if
yeah,
even if you feel like you're releasing energy, if you're releasing emotion, you haven't found it yet. You have to find something that you love with the utmost clarity, where when you do it, everything goes away.
mhm.
Hmm.
And like Carlos said when he was saying, "Oh, do you ever, release emotion or, speak, kind of like for the people in a sense?" Well, I kind of do. Okay, I'm gonna bring up a band real quick. The band's name is called Cattle Decapitation. Now, it's a very, vulgar slash gory name for a band, which is brutal. But it it's funny because they're like, whenever I hear people describe them, they're like, they're death metal, they're technical, and they just stick it in your face. What they're really listening to is just the sound of it. They're not really getting to the core of what they're talking about. Like on their new album, Death Atlas, it talks about how humanity wipes itself out and how it's a repeated process that we've done. Like the Romans, the Greeks, they kind of fucking killed themselves off if you think about it. Same with like the people who did the sand scriptures. They're, civilizations kill themselves, not natural disasters. We kill ourselves. And that's what they were communicating with that album is that no, like with their song Finish Them, even though it's like very like, very like driving and going for it. And it's just all out, just brutal. And, Travis Ryan, their vocalist, is just going to these ungodly high decibels on his like vocals and just shrieking at the top of his lungs. There's a still form of, you know not it's not emotion, more of a feeling. Like I said earlier, music isn't trying to make you feel something, it's trying to convey something, it's trying to make that connection. And like Carlos said earlier, when you pick what happens when I pick this up, like I said, it's an attachment of me, but there's still that little bit of emotion. There's that feel like Carlos Santana, the guitarist
Dude,
for
yes.
Santana. Uh, like he said, when you play music, you're bringing life into something. You're not, you know, because I've seen in my 9, and after this month, 10 years of guitar playing, I have seen pretty much every guitarist ever. The show off, the person who's just blanking.
He unplugged his headset.
I thought that was me for a second. I was like, oh my god, 'cause I'm like having trouble all over. Like, oh no.
Yeah. No, that was me.
This is gonna be a very off topic here, but I enjoy that you referenced Carlos Santana. This is gonna be so hard to believe, but I've been doing so much like studying on the guy. Like,
Really?
I got this record set. It's a vinyl record set of the entire Woodstock performance. And I was listening to Santana's set. I'm like, oh my god, holy shit! Like, what is this?
Oh yeah.
It sounds like somebody's like casting a spell or something. And when I Shazammed it, I was like, because I've heard a few Santana songs, but I've never actually sort of like engulfed in his work. But once I did, I'm like, oh my god! And you find out that the guy was on, I do believe he was on acid when he was performing.
Yeah,
like
10 little squares of acid, so much that he thought his guitar neck was a snake.
I read that. But that's also kind of crazy how, although your art can, you can connect it with your emotions, or maybe you don't. Like, you can also connect it with like, what do you even call that? Like your consciousness? Because I mean, I know that when you, or maybe I don't know, but it's like whenever you do experiment with psychedelics, that's sort of like your subconscious coming at you, and it's crazy how. Go ahead.
When you do stuff like that, I imagine your brain as a box, and when you take psychedelics, it knocks down one of those walls. Or for example, when you take you take acid, that's going to knock down all 4 walls and open up a whole nother, meaning for you. Or when you like do another, say for instance, shrooms, it's just going to knock down 1 wall, and you're just going to expand that part of it. It's if anything, it shows you more than you want. Now, I'm not saying I have taken these because I haven't, but I've heard from people who have taken these what it is like, and I've taken their dude, bro, dude, like sentences and made them more, understandable for people like us, that are like, oh, well,
right.
But with Carlos Santana, like he said, when you play music, you're bringing life/light into the darkness being this world, and that's how I feel when I pick this up. I'm not only creating and doing music for myself and what I think sounds good, but I'm also doing it for other people who will appreciate it, and for people who don't appreciate it, they come to appreciate it, and they find that groove and they find meaning within it. Because like I said, music, it can convey emotion, it can have feeling, and it can bring out so much, but the most it can do is make you feel. And that's something that I think a lot of people now have a problem with, is feeling something running through them. Like, whenever I go to a concert, for instance, the type of concerts I go to, typical metal show, the band gets up and they're like, all right, I want this pit open over here. I want a pit over here. And then everybody's like, yeah, and they're all hyped up and they're full of energy. And there's some fat guy who's drunk behind you kind of rubbing up on you. And you're like, please get away from me. You smell weird and you have your dick out. That's weird. And when the band plays their music, the crowd is feeling it, and there's always participation. They're always feeling something, like, for example, Anthrax, they have a song called Caught in the Mosh that gets everybody off their feet. I saw a dude in his 60s get out of his little lawn chair that he had and go into the pit. Like, and I sat here, I was 16 at the time. I was like, did nobody just see that elderly man just kill himself in the pit? I've been in a couple, hits before. I've gotten bruises, stuff like that from it. And people are like, oh, metal, it's not a really, emotional, genre, when it actually is, because you have these people, who, had all these experiences, and those artists or musicians has helped them get through them. Or, for example, like that old guy in the lawn chair, one of his favorite songs came on. He was like, "Oh, get out of the way, kids. This is how it's done," you know. And they feel something. It's energy just coursing through everybody's veins, pure adrenaline, energy, a heart explosion. All they need's adrenaline, and boom, gone. And music's escape from this world. It's gone.
And when you do, sort of like form your dreams of like getting to that stage,
Yeah.
do you dream big? Get like, for example, like getting like the rock star Rolling Stone life, or do you dream cautious? And sort of like taking in the sort of like the things that come with that life,
Yeah.
or even like sort of like also being cautious in a way that you're also bringing yourself to earth. Like, yes, this is something that I enjoy doing, and I mean, just like
Yeah.
me with like what I got going on, it's like, yeah, this is something that I enjoy, and I'm very passionate about this thing. But like, will I regret putting all this effort in 10 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever?
Oh yeah, for sure. When you're saying dream, when people say dream big, I say don't dream too big, because if you dream too big, it kills your dream. Or when people say, "Oh, dream cautiously," that brings it down. What I do is I dream realistically. I think realistically about the situation. So I don't just go, "I'm gonna have this, 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 and this." I go, "What I'm going to do is this. Then I'm gonna wait, build my way up, then get to the other objective that I have." And with especially with the band, I just recently had to end things with a buddy. I was a part of his band. I quit his band because he's not a good bandmate. Poor leadership skills, I would have to say, on his part. And when I was in there, they dream too big, and that's the thing. The both of them dream too big, and especially with their like god complex egos on top of it, it only boosted that dream too big, more.
Right.
And it really kind of got to me, and I got really mad that they were like this, and I still am, because I just want them to be better people and not be pieces of shit. And
Right,
and when I was in their band, they were dreaming, way too big, and especially for like the subgenre of metal that we were doing. It's this thing called deathcore, but they were doing like technical dot melodic dot deathcore, and then I was like, see, in my case, they were just they were thinking too big. They weren't thinking realistic. But the thing about them is I admire, if they do watch this, they're probably, already like, "Oh, all those things are false narratives," but whatever. The thing
you're gonna
is,
get a one paragraph.
right, incoming anyway, but what I do admire about one of them is their drive and how they strive for it. Like, they've literally sat in their like basement slash room, for weeks on end, and literally sat there and just did music the whole time. The only times they take breaks is bathroom, family, and eat. That's about it. But other than that, whenever my buddy, the other guy, and I would go over to his house and work on music, we would always they would always think too big about it. I'd think realistic about it. But the person who I said I admire their strive and their like drive for it, would take a step back, realize what he's doing, and then go, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And I admire that drive about him. And I've kind of taken that drive away, and kind of applied it, to whatever I do now. No matter what, I'll just move it out of the way, and it's nothing. But no, it's the drive. It's all about the drive, and especially music in the music industry. That's one thing they don't tell you in the music industry. Now, I've barely tapped my foot on the gas of the music industry, but what they don't tell you is it's not all about the music. It's never about the music. It's all about the money, money, money. and how much revenue can the record company / label make from it, and how much can we leave left over for the musician who put in their full ass work and has a dream. It's
Wow, it's interesting to hear from somebody who's in that field. Brandon, you got anything to say to that? I know he dropped some very insightful stuff right there.
Yeah, I mean, I can't put too much input into it because, you know, I'm not a musician.
Yeah.
But I do understand like the passion behind it. Like I can listen to the music that I'm into and I have that same emotion to where, you know, I just enjoy the feelings of listening to it.
Yeah.
I think that's where music shines best. And it's unfortunate that, you know, like you said, the record companies are just trying to make money rather than to promote a passion, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's I wish I could see more artists just create art and not have to worry about um,
Going with the norms.
yeah, going with the norms and making sure that their record people are happy. And it feels like more of a business rather than creating something special. And I think that's like
Yeah.
that's music's biggest flaw. I wish I wish someday that that would at least be lessened or gone completely.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is when I was talking about these guys and when I was saying they dream too big, is I mean they're talking like stadiums, stuff like that. I'm like I said, when I think more realistically, I'm thinking about like bars, small venues, stuff like that.
Mhm.
You know, because in those smaller venues,
Mm.
you get more of a connection between the people. With those bigger venues, you just get a after every song and maybe clapping.
Yeah.
Woo! I got laid to that song. Woo!
Right.
But with those smaller venues, you got people with passion. You know, you got people with all these emotions in just like a good-sized room with good music happening, and and that's when that creates the connection between the listener and the maker of it.
I think the best way to become successful in almost anything would be self-sacrifice. And I think
Yeah.
that in a musician's case, if I was, you know, musically inclined, I would go and move into a very large city. Now, the issue with that is in a
Yeah.
large city that uh, obviously the housing expenses are outrageous, the food costs will be outrageous, and supporting yourself would be extremely difficult. But that is a
Yeah.
self-sacrifice. And what I would do there is in the large city, you're going to get a ton of diversity. If you go and perform in those
Mm-hmm.
bars, you can probably do like 3 bars a night because there's so many. And you're going to get
Yeah.
different audiences every single time. You're going to get different listeners every single time. And then that is how you create your fan base. If people like what they're listening to, then that develops your fan base and your audience. And ultimately, if people enjoy what you're putting out, and that is how you would become, in my eyes, a successful musician. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to pack out or stadiums. You don't have to go crazy famous. If I think as long as you have a fan base and people are enjoying and listening to what you are creating, that is what true success is as a musician.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's and when I was talking about like the small venues and those connections, even I've heard bigger artists say they prefer smaller venues, but they still maintain that just like kind of on almost kind of like street cred of like street credibility of like people know them, but they'll play smaller venues
Mm-hmm.
because that's how they draw in more people. Now let's take I'm gonna give a good example. Let's take Metallica, the biggest metal band of all time. They went from these small to medium sized venues playing thrash metal, just absolutely going ham on it. Telling people metal up your ass. Fuck the system, fuck you. To now playing dad rock in giant stadiums and going, and nothing else matters. Like, but to all respect with them, to all respect for them, they started from, my realistic standpoint of things to building up to the going too big starting out,
Yeah.
and for example, let's go Moscow, 1991 or 2. Pantera, Metallica, AC/DC, and I think one other band called the Monsters of Rock. It was in Moscow. Raked in almost over 1.9 million people
Oh my God,
That's
in an
insane.
open field.
it's crazy.
And it was unbelievable. It was like Woodstock, but bigger. Woodstock had like 500,000, if not like a couple, like 100,000 more. But and when they got to those big stadiums and stuff like that, they got bigger connections, but they didn't have the same feeling as they did with the smaller venues, where they still had energy left over and they're like, yeah, after it. Now they're just kind of old.
I feel like
And
I feel like even with the small venues, if I
Mhm.
again if I was a musician, the biggest benefit I would be able to connect to the people who are listening to me more,
Mhm.
since it's such a small group of people. Like there's what 20 to 50 people in a bar.
Yeah.
You can probably even go up to them and be like, "Hey, what did you like? What did you not like?" And then take that as
Mhm.
constructive criticism.
Yeah.
But if you're performing in a stadium, that is like 100,000 people, like 50 to 100,000 people, and that's so many people.
Oh yeah.
That's too many people to connect with people, because if you're just gonna be like, hey, asking people like, did you like it or whatever, people are just gonna want your autograph, and then people are gonna hoard you just because you're there. So
Oh yeah.
I feel like in my case, I would enjoy the smaller venues just because I would be able to talk to people who listen to me and know
Mhm.
whether they liked it or whether they disliked it, or you know and get not advice, but like I said, constructive criticism.
Yeah, and
That's interesting.
that's yeah. Don't get me wrong. I like constructive criticism. I kind of feed off of that, But there is, whenever people do give constructive criticism, it's never constructive criticism.
Yeah.
It's always, I liked it, but your set was shit.
Yeah, I
Like,
liked it, but you suck. Just stop.
Yeah.
right. And that's the thing with like, especially like this field of music, it's aggressive, it's that you have an image. But what I've gone into, I've always loved metal. I've always had a deep appreciation for it. But whenever I do play, and people, I get feedback from them or whatever, I always thank them, stay humble about it. And that's one thing guitar players need to be, is more humble about it and quit being dickbags with egos.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's everybody, man. Everybody.
Right.
No, actually, that's nowadays. I mean, we sort of
Yeah.
touched this on our last episode. Is
Yeah.
that people are now so focused on proving a point.
Yeah.
It's like being the richest person in the room, or being the most popular person in the
Yeah.
room. It's like, no,
Oh.
it's about feeling content with your
Yeah.
with yourself and your art. And yeah, like I said, it's good to hear that you are like that. You're very happy with what you're putting out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I am. Even though I don't have like a whole lot of music made, like I'm still in the recording process of things. Like it's taken me months and
Right.
months to create like 5 songs just to get them right. But that's the thing. Whenever I see people, especially like musicians, have a huge ass ego on them, I had one friend who was like, "Yo, there's this kid in the school. He thinks he's hot shit, at guitar. Why don't you go show him up?" I never do that, but this kid need to kind of be put in his place a little bit. And I had to serve little baby boy a piece of humble pie. I did not want to do that, but I kind of had to do it.
I think some people need that reality check, like
Yeah.
Right.
because again, something that relates to me is football, and there's some players on my football team that think they're hot shit, and they're not. See, people who like go to the NFL, they're like 250 pounds, 6'6", absolute monsters. And like our biggest guy
Yeah.
is like 220, barely 6 foot. Like you're nothing, dude. Like you may be good
We're told
in
this.
Klamath standards, but compared to who is actually good, you're absolute
Yeah.
trash. So
Yeah.
I think some people who have massive egos like that just need to be just have not to be, you know, a dick or anything, but you just need to be, you know, put them in their place, have a slight reality check, and have
Yeah.
them realize that, you know, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I've seen the Mazama football team a couple of times, and there are some scrawny bitches on there.
Oh,
I will
yeah.
tell you what. I'm like, and like they come out going, oh, like
Yeah.
that. I'm like, I could flip you and you'd be dead. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I get they're trying to get hyped about it, but there was one time I like attended just a football, game before everything hit, and I sat there and I saw this one kid go, oh, that's what I'm talking about, baby, and he's like this thin, and I'm like, can somebody go put this? Can somebody go tell this man how he's making himself look?
Yeah.
And that's one thing I always like telling people when they're being idiots. Just like I will tell you if you're being dumb and if you need to back up.
Yeah,
But
I think the most people that are successful are the humble people who will do self-sacrifice. Now, of course, there's
yeah,
going to be that person who's just an asshole and gets whatever he wants, and there's going to be that person who is an asshole but doesn't have very much, so it's just ambition that gets him where he wants. But I think
yeah,
most people who become successful are people who are humble. They're kind of in the shadows, but kind of not, and they just become
yeah,
who they are, and they'll do anything to become what they want to be in the future.
yeah, and like I said earlier, especially with this field of music, the genre, excuse me, of it at least is it's aggressive, it's dorky for some people. Sometimes it's embarrassing, and I've dealt with that before, and I've just gone past the point of I don't care what people think of what I'm doing. I'm just doing it because it's making me happy, and it's doing what I've always been wanting to do.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of giving, especially like I said, especially the subgenre of music and like how people are. It's a matter of just not giving a fuck, and I don't give a fuck. Like
Yeah.
I've had somebody in my live, on Instagram before be like, bro, play this song, and when I don't see, their song request, and then when I do see it and I get to it, and especially if it's a song I haven't played in a while, like give me a break. And they'll be like, you fucking suck, and I'm like, you want to have a go at it? You want to have a go?
Yeah.
Let's see you do 9 years of work, bitch. Like,
Even if you're the best musician, it's almost impossible to just know songs, you know. Like I feel
yeah,
like at some
like,
point if you just hear a song you can know the notes, but
yeah,
even if you haven't played a song in a while, or if you have never played a song and people ask you to play it, I mean,
yeah,
it's just like an impossible request to just play
yeah.
something like that.
And I've met a couple of big musicians before. When I was in White City slash, like Medford, I was watching In This Moment, Hailstorm, New Year's Day, all fronted by women, by the way. All of their front men are front women, which props to fucking way to go, ladies. But we need more diversity in this genre, please. But I'm tired of angry white middle-aged men. But but yeah, no, I kind of met with Izzy Hale a little bit after the show. I caught her as I was leaving the show, a matter of fact, and which is the front woman for Hailstorm, and I was telling her, I was like, "Yo, I think it's amazing that you're up here, giving zero shits, like there were guys in the crowd that were like, yeah, baby, fucking nice ass, stuff like that, and I'm just sitting here, I'm like, okay, don't get me wrong, they're nice looking women, okay, but I've come here to appreciate the music and digest it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
and
what we want to hear, right?
yeah, and that this goes back to the whole of I don't give a fuck. You know, that's what these, you know, it's, and this is what I take, especially like now coming from a guy, this is going to sound weird, but a lot of these women in metal I actually kind of get inspired by a little bit, you know, because they don't give a shit. Like Maria Brink, the vocalist for in this moment, another band that was there, you know, she was like dressing all like lewd and stuff and getting, you know, catcalled and whatnot, but she just didn't care. She just went on with the show, and afterwards she came out and she was like, "Screw you for fucking saying that," and just like that to the whole front row. And I was like, "You tell them." But it's just a matter of, in this field, of not caring. But in some aspects, you do need to care.
Yeah.
And that I will give to people who are musicians. I'm pretty sure you guys know about it, but Lakota, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, artist here in where I'm at. I'm his guitarist for, like, you know, whatever he needs, and I hope he hits me up sometime so that way I can actually work on stuff with him. But even with him, he just has that zero fucks vibe, you know. And when he does get positive feedback, he thanks the people and stays humble about it. And that I admire, you know. And if he watches this, or if somebody sends it to him, dude, fucking nice.
Right, yeah. That's the sort of the character trait you need, is like sort of like,
yeah.
I don't give a fuckness, but still appreciate and consider the feedback.
Oh yeah.
Know? But also, you know, also don't be a dick. Don't like slander somebody for something that they're, you know, put their effort in. Be like, yeah, you know, I didn't like this video.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah. So
yeah, and like it's facts, bro. Like, and like a summer or two ago, when you told Lakota to come to me and you recommended him to me, I was like,
I did. No, yeah, because I mean, I've always trusted your vision, you know, and I think the moment that I realized, like, yeah, this is my boy, was at the talent show. Brandon, you were there, right?
Yeah, I know
grade
what you're
talent
talking
show
about. Yeah.
When Adin crushed. Somebody has to have the video. We might post it on the last podcast Instagram. Go follow. Plug in right there. But,
I still have it.
You
send
still
it
have
to me,
it?
Aiden. Send it to me.
I mean,
yeah.
It was
my mother
moment. Really, dude, we have to see it. But it was like at that very moment. It's like one of those surreal experiences where you see a vision come to life, you know, and it's even more incredible because it's not your vision, but it's like you're understanding the vision of another individual, and it takes you back, because it's like I mentioned, I don't know when I mentioned this, but it's like, it's inspiring. You know, you see somebody with a dream and they nail it right on stage. You're blown away. Everybody's all clapping, excited, and you get that trophy, and it's like you feel happy with yourself, you know, because it shows you, like, if you put in the effort to produce your own work and put it out into the world, then you will receive an award, whether sure, you know, maybe like that whatever award you got, you know, that's also not gonna, you know, you really shouldn't minimize your effort into that tiny reward, but it still makes you feel happy inside to see somebody like an artist such as yourself receive that recognition. So that's a very special moment right there. 8th grade talent show. My goodness.
Yeah. I call those proud dad moments.
Dude, yeah. My God, I know. Brandon remembers it, right? That was.
I do remember that.
That was incredible.
I remember that talent show. Oh, that's the first time I heard Aiden play his guitar, like an actual song, and I knew he was a good guitar player just because, I mean, he makes his own fucking guitars. But just hearing him play, I was like, wow, there's genuine talent there.
Right.
That first experience was like, this man has something, and this man will be successful someday.
And
right, you see it.
Which I thank you guys for saying that. Like, really, it's nice to hear it from somebody other than my family. But I still appreciate it either way, you know. But no, after when I did that talent show, I actually planned it out because I knew the school that we went to had talent shows.
Mm-hmm.
7th grade year before, obviously 8th. What I did is I lowered everybody's intentions or thoughts of me. And then over the years, and then when it led up to that, talent show, like I said, I brought everybody's like intentions or like thoughts about me down to, where they're like, oh, that's Aiden. He just goes here, And what the reason why I did that is because when I played, is I wanted that shock factor out of the whole audience.
Yeah,
It's because
That's genius.
I didn't know you did that. That's pretty fucking baller.
Oh,
Yeah.
I planned that shit out.
Wow.
I even
Oh,
had the
God.
preppy chicks who don't even like me go.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I mean the chicks
I
like
saw that.
chicks,
Everybody.
chicks like the guitar, so if you play the
Yeah,
guitar,
yeah.
you're
Some
gonna
of
get
them.
it.
Some of them
Yeah,
do.
I think a couple of girls asked me for your Instagram tag that day. Oh my God. No, but do you still see that moment as like a top 5 I feel proud of myself moment?
Yeah, that was a definite, genuine pat on the back moment for me. And the other 2 people who I think Zandra got second, and then it was either you or Seth.
Zandra and Seth. It was
Yeah.
Seth. I got snubbed.
Yeah.
I don't want to do no diss to never mind. Go ahead.
You're like, don't get me started, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, don't even get me started. My God. All right, go.
But I was, if anything, not only was I proud of myself, but I was proud of Zandra, Seth, and you, for going up there and, just doing it. Like Zandra, even though she didn't have a backing track, I didn't have a backing track. Even though we didn't have backing tracks, unlike Seth, even though Seth was kind of good with the backing track on. Love and respect for my boy Seth.
What did they do? I don't remember.
Love and respect for Seth. Seth did
Seth
was doing something with his mouth, right?
No, he was playing bass and he did "Ain't No Mountain High Enough."
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And Zandra
she was singing, right?
Yeah, she did Can't Help But Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley, which I was really proud of her for, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, even though her and I barely like talk or like do anything together, hearing her voice right there made me have the proud dad moment. I was like,
yeah, her voice is really good.
Yeah. Right,
and that's the thing, is because like with her, I didn't expect that out of her. Like a lot of people didn't expect that to come out of me on that day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did, is like I said earlier, I lowered everybody's intentions or thoughts of me. And then when that moment hit, like the day 1 and 2, right after the talent show, I shit you not, I had like other people who I don't even talk to be like, "Hey Aiden, what's up, man? Whoa, it's so nice to see you." I was like, dude, you literally bullied me in the men's locker room after weight training. Don't fucking come at me like that.
Get that fake love out of here, right?
Right. Get that shit out of here.
It's like if you win the lottery and then you have family members you didn't even know hit you.
Right. Just dad back with the milk. Hey there, son. No,
all right, and go on.
And after this, we can move on to the next subject if you want. But it was not only a shock factor for the audience, it was an empowering moment for me, because I sat there, on stage with my guitar, and I'm like, I kind of have like the power right now, not the power to control, but the power to make connections.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. I brought the factor of shock, awe, and connections.
Yeah,
that's what I strived to aim for, and I got it.
Yeah, that performance was like amazing. Those 3 factors you definitely nailed for sure.
Thank you.
But Aiden, I actually have a question for you. I know Carlos usually asks all the questions.
Yeah.
You, me, and Carlos truly became good old buddies in improv. that is where we found our niche.
Yeah.
We dubbed ourselves the
Oh, yeah.
Holy Trio, and every single time we went up on stage and performed, like us three and us only three, it was a spectacular performance every time. And I just gotta ask, like, out of your Carlos brought up top 5 moments, out of any improv scene or whatever we did you ever have a top 5 moment in improv?
Choose wisely. Choose wisely,
Shit.
please, because I have my own.
You're like, choose wisely. uh, shit.
For me, it was definitely that last performance, that last one.
Yeah, it's a tie between that last performance and the one where we were kind of like on a road trip with it was
That's the
you and
one.
I,
Yes.
Carlos,
That's
That
Carlos's
was our
favorite.
first performance,
Gabe,
wasn't it?
and Gabe. Yeah, it was
And
Gabe.
That's what.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew it was Gabe. Yeah, right.
And we
Wasn't
were all
that our last
sitting.
performance though?
No, that was like our third or fourth to last, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
What? Oh my god.
Dude, our last performance was with that those two like females.
Yeah, it was
I forget
Savannah.
their names.
Savannah.
Yeah, Savannah.
Was I in
and
it?
No.
Yeah, you were in it.
Oh,
All
he
of
was?
us. I thought all of us were. Yeah, it was Carlos,
Wait, what was
you,
it? What
and
was it?
Savannah.
What was it?
Shit. Now you're really making me think.
I thought that car scene or that car sketch, that road trip
yeah.
sketch,
I
was
don't
our last performance.
I don't remember what the last performance was. I just knew it wasn't the car.
No, it
I do
wasn't.
remember that the last performance was probably all of our best performances, and we had the
Yeah.
whole class laughing all like throughout the whole thing. It was golden. I
Yeah.
wish I remembered what it was. I don't remember.
Dude, it's like I know what it is, but I don't know what it is.
Me
Yeah,
too, dude.
yeah.
Me too. Me too. It's happening right now. It's like my mind knows what it is, but it's still not there. But
Yeah,
either way,
and-
it was always such a wonderful
Oh.
time in that classroom. The
Oh,
three
it
of
always
us,
was.
we have a chemistry like no other.
Yeah.
Right.
And
The Holy Trio.
it's hilarious. And it's the good thing about that improv class is that I could have like the shittiest day. I could walk there and be like, "Screw you, everybody, fuck you guys," and just like sit down with you guys, and you're like, "You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, give me a minute." And then like when we start performing, they're like, "All right, who do you want next?" And then when anybody would be like, "Aiden," I'm like,
I
and
remember
then
that. Yeah.
worries,
That's how you got
worries
a signature.
gone away. Yeah, the signature
Right.
old man Curran.
I, the only thing I hated about improv was that Miss McPherson would like not let us perform together because she
Right.
wanted other people to perform, and like
Right.
when we
Which I understand.
yeah, like it makes
Right,
sense, but it
understandable.
kind of sucks because we wanted to make like funny sketches, and Miss
Oh, yeah.
McPherson's like, "Oh, I'll pick you," and then someone you don't know, and it's like, God dang it, like I wanted to make
Right,
something
and
funny with my
it'd be
friend.
like some like seventh grader we didn't know, and we're over
Yeah.
like, "No offense, dude, I don't think this is gonna work out." And then like one of them was like really understanding, and he was like, "It's okay, man."
Do you guys remember that chick that wasn't like when we were in 8th grade? She was a 7th grader. She was blonde, and she was completely unfunny.
Oh,
I think I know what you're talking about. I remember a certain sketch. I think I had a sketch with that. I think I know who you're talking about. And it's like the thing about it was that it's like, yeah, I understand. Maybe this isn't for you. And like, like I can't really blame you. More blame
Yeah.
on Miss McPherson, even though she's like the coolest teacher I had. But still,
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to like giving it your all. Because I feel like
Yeah.
when you don't and you're sort of like, you make the scene uncomfortable, you
Mhm.
make your partner uncomfortable. And that's what I always resented about people who just wouldn't match the energy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and with us, it's like it's like Aiden escalates it, Brandon goes beyond that. And then I go beyond that. And it's like,
And-
what? There's no name for it. It's
Oh,
amazing.
Aiden, I remember our WWE skit when it was like WWE Thunderdome, and then we would just have like a little
Wait, what?
wrestling battle.
Oh,
I-
yes,
Do you remember
dude. I think I did
I don't
I
remember
did
that.
a little bit of the voiceover, and I think I did like my impression of Macho Man Randy
Yeah,
Savage.
you were Macho Man, and I
And
was
I-
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and
I
I'm
don't
like,
remember any of that. What?
Oh, it was the funniest thing because we were
Dude,
just mocking WWE, and he was like,
yeah.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh yeah,
And
I came out of like the side room in the music room, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got you in the ring for 3 whole minutes, baby." Like that.
oh god, that was great. I totally forgot
Dude,
about that until like just now. Oh man.
because we made too many memories in that class that it's like we
Right,
all overshadow each other.
You know, do you guys
right, and
know that meme where it was like, let's you press a button to move forward, and then you press a button to move forward, and then it's like
yeah.
you press another button, it's like fuck, go back. I wish I could press that
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
fuck, like the oh
Yeah.
fuck button, go back to improv. Like
right.
skip every single
Or
day,
like,
all the time. But if I could go back to those improv moments, I would, hands down.
oh yeah, it's that guy with like the black turtleneck, and he said, "I prefer the original," and then it goes down the line, and then it finally goes perfection.
Right.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, but
uh,
a question that I sort of had is like I wanted to ask you guys this, but more
mhm.
specifically Aiden, because I know that you and I, we share this bond where our memories go way back. They
Oh
go
yeah,
way back to whether it be fifth grade when we first met, and I first saw you, and I'm like, this is gonna be my partner in crime, or whether it's in sixth grade where we always
oh
spent
yeah.
like countless hours just reading graphic novels every single day during reading time and like so like finessing Miss I forgot her name, but Miss but we were
But this
sort of
thing
like
was
finessing
London.
the teacher. Like, yeah, she had everybody reading chapter books, and here we are with our graphic novels that look like chapter books, and we're all like, huh, yeah, very distinguished. But it's like,
Yeah,
and
like
then
yes.
right, yeah, no, but I mean, we spent the entire class just reading like Batman comic books, which was like the greatest moment of my life. But then I think that grade just always it's always in the back of my head because
Dude,
it's
it's
it truly showed you the power behind a friendship, and I think
yeah.
you gave me that. And more so with outdoor school. I'm not sure if Brandon had outdoor school in his. Did you guys have outdoor
I
school?
had outdoor school. I actually think we went
Right.
to the
It's
same one.
Camp
Uh,
Westman.
I don't think it was
Camp
the same
Westman.
time, but yes, yeah. All right. It definitely wasn't the same time though, right?
Uh, I don't think so. But hold on.
Well, no, other schools were around.
Right. No, I think that
So
school was from fuck. I don't know what, but I didn't recognize anybody.
I think it was from Grants Pass, if I remember
Might have been.
correctly.
Dude, I have mine in there somewhere. Damn it. Dude, you guys
Dude,
you guys
I
better
have
not
mine in
take
my
this.
room.
I
Right,
Dude,
still
right
have
I
next
mine.
to me.
yeah, I
Oh
don't
my god.
have mine with me right now. It's currently in my room, hanging
Mm.
on my little like jewelry stand that I have where all this stuff goes. And no, dude, when I do you want to continue your question so I can get more,
Yeah. Yeah,
insight
yeah,
here?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, go for it, man.
No, but yeah, like as I was saying, like outdoor school was such a like incredible experience because it sort of like opened like a window to what we had ahead of us because it was like our last year of grade school and up next was middle school and that's just like boom, you're
Mhm.
exposed to the real world. Like pick up your slack, you're gonna fail and you're gonna take another class again. You have periods and whatever. It's like class periods. All right,
Yeah.
but it's no, all right, no. But back to
Oh,
what I was saying. It's
bleeding.
like no. Back to what I was saying. It's like I think outdoor school really did open that window into like the real world that lied ahead, and something that really stuck with me during our time with outdoor schools. I remember it was on our last campfire, and
Yeah,
it was just such an emotional time, and I remember you sort of like took yourself from that moment and you were just overcome with all sorts of feelings and emotions and like
yeah.
does that sabotage the experience for you or does it make it all the best and all like all the more special to you?
If anything, those days, especially when I had that little cry sesh there, because I just that year for me, it's kind of like 2020 right now. It's just a shit storm, but like only for me at that time. I recently was dealing with the passing of my stepmother of stage 4 lung cancer, and a lot of the things there reminded me of her. And I heard some things like I said some things there that kind of sounded like her, And if anything, it actually amplified my experience for outdoor school. If anything, it kind of made it better, And when one thing I, really took away, from these is like no matter, who the person is or who they are or where they're from, you can always have connections with somebody. And you can always feel something with somebody. Like, you remember Jordan Burkheimer, right? I probably just slaughtered her last name.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but she hates my guts now. I don't know why. Like, literally, she remembers me as the weird, creepy kid in her eyes. If you're watching this, I've changed, asshole. I'm just... But no, I actually got along with her for like a couple hours, which was weird because I know before she like really didn't care for me, and like I'd strike up an occasional conversation here and there. But there I really started, especially with Bo. I really before we headed out to outdoor school, Bo James. I had to I realized my faults and my faulties, or my problems that I've had with Bo, in the past, and he was, annoying me, upsetting me and stuff like that. He was kind of getting on my nerves. And so before we went to outdoor school and he got on Mr. Bean's bus, I went up and I grabbed him by the shoulder, turned it around, brought him off the bus, and I, still had my hand on his shoulder, and I said, Bo, I know this past year so far has been, I've been nothing but, just a dick to you. And I'm sorry about that. And I'm like, it's just, I've been, going through a lot, as a, person and as a kid at the time. And I explained myself to him and I went on about it. And he was like, and he sat there for a minute, and Mr. Dean was like, come on, Bo, we gotta go, buddy. And he's like, give me a minute, It was kind of like, it was almost something out of a movie, like with the whole, like, come on, and then like, wait a minute, I have the last words, oh.
Right.
And Bo forgave me, and then we moved on. And that's how it went. But when I got to outdoor school, I cannot forgive the fucking hike up to Uncle Bliss's cabin with 3 trash bags filled with clothes and a goddamn duffel bag.
I remember that. That was awful. Because my cabin, I don't know where your guys' cabin was, or even if we were there at the same time, but my cabin was one of the highest ones. I think it was just below the highest one. And I had all my stuff.
Yeah.
And going up that dumbass hill was... God.
Dude, my little 6th grade body could not take the endurance of that incline hill with like deteriorating steps and losing grip on the trash bags, and like our cabin counselor going, "Come on, ladies, let's go," and I'm over like, "What the fuck up?"
Our counselors were freaking high schoolers, and they carried nothing with us. Like, you could at least help a little bit.
Well, they've been there for like a couple days. They've already done their fair share.
Well, they got showers every day. You remember that?
Yeah.
God, that made me mad.
One of my white socks is still up there at Camp West, soaking in the shower in the corner, with the label Adidas on the side.
Classic.
But what happened is, no, I remember the trek up there. Like Carlos and I and like 2 other people were sitting there like, like that, and then what looked like the cabin wasn't the cabin. He was like, all right, we're halfway there. And I looked up, I was like, halfway? Bro, I'm like, I can see the ocean. And he's like, no, we're not there, because ours was like the 3rd to last, like highest,
I think so,
like cabin that we had, because it went Uncle Bliss, then one other cabin, and then like, the top one on the hill. And all the chicks got like the cool like lower foresty side, which like I preferred the higher up on the mountain, because I was like and
right.
And we actually got a better view than them. We got the damn ocean. Like, dude, I remember falling asleep
Yeah, it was really peaceful to fall asleep there. Like that's one of the best
And then,
sleeps I've ever had in my life.
right, dude, it was so amazing. And then Judel's bitch ass snoring under me.
Dude, Judell and Aiden just had this dynamic duo there the entire time. They were bunkmates, and like you just hear like I don't know if it was Judell or Aiden, but you would just hear them like with their little flashlights, like just
Oh yeah,
making these noises,
we
like
would do like
right,
Morse
like
code
Morse
back and
code,
forth
right? Yeah,
with the flashlights, and then like one of the counselors who was outside came in, and his name was Galaxy, if I remember correctly. And he goes, and he's like this very like hipster, like middle aged, like 38-year-old guy, and he walks in there with like his sandals on and with his tank top on, and he goes, I don't know who's doing that, but whoever's doing it, it's not funny. Go to bed. And then he like walked out of the cabin and got back up to his cabin and where his, students were. And as soon as he got back up, Judel and I and then Jared and then you started joining in on it. You
right,
and Jared
yeah,
started joining in on it, and we're like, and then we heard Ludo come back up the stairs, and we're like, shit.
right, yeah. Dude, Ludo was such a stand-up guy. I mean, talk about an individual who you look up to. He's like,
Oh
damn, that,
shit.
and he was so much like us. I mean, the guy. I mean, in sixth grade, that was really our. I don't know what to call it, but we were into our shit. We were into our comic books. We were into our
Oh
everything.
hell yeah.
And he was like that too. You know, like you hear, like I didn't, dude. I remember one time we were sitting down, we were having lunch. Again, like the food there was always,
Dude, the
incredible.
food was awesome.
But
Slapped.
out of this world. But the thing was, like, we were having this conversation, and the more I communicate with him, like the more I realize, like, oh my god, Ludo is kind of like me. Like we both are fascinated by Marvel movies and all this stuff, and like
Yeah.
movies in general. And it's like I learned so much about him, and I wish I still knew him because having somebody such as Ludo to like look up to, I think that's very important. And Ludo, like I said, stand-up guy. I wish
Yeah.
everybody had a Ludo of their own.
I felt the same way with
And,
my counselor. My counselor name
Yeah.
was Nemo, and I was the.
Dude, maybe you were with us at the same time.
That sounds familiar. No,
I
yeah,
really think I
that sounds
was.
Yeah.
But him, like me, and like I don't know, from 4th to 6th grade, I was way more mature than everyone else.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of still feel that way even as a junior in high school, that I feel like much more mature than anybody
Yeah.
else. And
Like-
I couldn't be
like,
friends with
I'm pretty
any.
sure that's how Carlos and I feel, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the whole like, yeah.
I couldn't be friends with anybody because I didn't find whatever they did funny. I just found it stupid and annoying and immature. And so I didn't really have very many friends in elementary school
Right.
at all. And when I started talking to Nemo, he was also very similar to me. He had that troubling elementary, and we kind of bonded over that. Like I remember, like he didn't even care about the rules. We would just I would sit by his bed and we would just talk about life. And those conversations with him, like, were some of the best I've ever had. Now, Carlos, I think our conversations were probably probably one of the best we've ever had. But Nemo,
You're up there.
if I had like a top 5, he would be like 3, 4, 5 for me. Those 3 nights, it was I had a best friend that I never had. I wish I still knew. I wish I still knew him, because I feel like we could still be friends now.
Yeah,
Right.
that's how Carlos and I feel with Ludo. Like, if we still had contact with him or anything, we'd be like,
Yeah.
Right, without a doubt. And also to whoever's out there and doesn't, you're like, what, Ludo, Nemo? Like, what are these names? It's like every counselor or whatever they were, like everybody had a nickname, because there was sort of like this ritual that they would do at the end of the at the end of the trip, where every counselor would reveal their names. It's like,
Oh,
my God.
shit!
Remember that? You
I
remember
forgot
that?
about that.
Yeah.
Because I remember that
they
we
would.
guessed our counselor's name right. Nemo was Michael.
Really? What was it?
It was Michael. We
Really?
guessed his name.
dude,
Dude,
Carlos and I, it was funny because I don't think we even guessed Ludo's name.
No,
Like,
we didn't. No.
but
What was his
we
name? Dude,
guessed
I totally
other.
forgot.
Dude, his name
Oh,
was
yo, wait.
Jared. Jared. Like
Right, yeah, and we had
JAR.
yeah,
Yeah.
and we had Jerry in our cabin, so it was like, whoa, we were like the sixth graders, like, oh my god, what is this? Like
Bro,
the world
Jared.
is
Jared. Oh.
right,
But
dude. Oh my
no,
god, that was
we didn't guess our own cabin counselor's name. We guessed other people's cabin counselor names.
yeah,
Like there was this
right,
dude
and
who looked exactly like fucking Peter Parker from like.
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say right
Oh
there.
shit! I
Yeah,
remember that, dude. I forgot about the
dude,
Peter
shut up.
Parker
No, you
guy.
don't.
No,
You
no,
don't,
no, no, no.
dude.
Because our table said the same thing. Like we didn't guess his name was Peter or anything. I don't remember what we guessed. What his name was, but there's definitely a guy that looked exactly like Peter Parker.
Exactly like Peter Parker, right? And he had like the camera and everything. He was like a
Yeah.
photographer, and it's like, dude, like.
Yeah, dude, and he was dating one of the chicks there.
Dude, right? That was Peter Parker. All right, I don't know what I don't know what like cosmic event occurred this, but we had Peter Parker in our outdoor school thing, whatever. But
Oh,
oh my god, such a great time. And
Damn.
do
Now I'm
you?
like,
Because I know
maybe we did go to the same one at the same time.
maybe we did, yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
We-
we're over like.
Okay.
we
I think
went
we
at
did.
the All right, no, I have a. It was we went on. I want to say the last days of May. 'Cause I know
Yeah,
before
yeah.
I
It
went to
was
outdoor
like
school.
May 15th.
Really?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I'm not even
Yeah.
kidding. Okay.
Wait, no,
So
we went at the exact end of the month though. We didn't go on the 15th. Wait, did we? I don't know. Because I remember I
don't know.
watched X-Men Apocalypse before going outdoor school.
So
And
here's the
so
true
whenever
test.
that came
I
out,
think this will be a pretty good test. I don't think everyone played Capture the Flag, but do you guys remember playing Capture the Flag? And when we went onto the beach, it started raining, and we had to go inside.
yeah,
We went at the
we
same time.
capture the flag. I remember, dude. Oh my god, that is gonna go down as one of the greatest moments of my life. I remember playing capture the flag with it was Adin and Judell, and we didn't even plan to do this. I was like, oh, this all looks boring. Like, oh, then soccer's my other option. Like, I guess I'm
Yeah.
gonna run around in the woods. But
Right.
dude, it's like it felt like you were in a movie.
Yeah.
You know, you're like running around.
Someday I want to do that
Like-
again. Like just play Capture the
Right.
Flag on the beach, and things are tucked in the sand. Like that was super fun. I wish we could actually like play for long, but we had to go inside.
Oh, bro, it was so good because Carlos and I and Judell were all like doing parkour off of trees to get away from people.
Right.
Like there was this kid who was shorter than me and he couldn't really reach the flag as I'm like running with it. And so I like grabbed onto a branch, kind of pulled myself over it a little bit and like jumped away from him.
Oh man, that's like a trip to me because I didn't know you guys back then, and now we're like such good friends, and we were there at the same time, and we didn't even know it.
Insane.
That's
That is
crazy.
insane.
Our celestial bodies have collided once again.
Wow.
But something that sort of like I wouldn't say ruins the experience. No, it's but something that does sort of makes you look at it from another angle is how we probably had some of our best moments, you and I, Aiden, as friends in that during outdoor school, and it's like, but I don't know if it was like on purpose and that we just didn't want to ever live up to those glory days, or we just sort of like it was just life being life. But I want to think that it's life being life because if we view that moment as like us giving up, I think that not only does that sound depressing as hell, it's sort of like kind of in a way ruins the experience. But how do you see that? Like it doesn't even have to be outdoor school. It can be like whatever special moment you have. Do you see it as letting the fire burn, or just giving it a rest and making memory for more? How do you view such events?
Well, in the words of my favorite movie villain, the Kurgan from the Highlander movies, it's better to burn out than to fade away.
Yeah.
And that I let it burn for a while until it eventually burns out. Like I said, better to burn out than to fade away. Fading away is something you never want to do because people don't remember you. You want to leave a mark on people.
Mm-hmm.
You want, and you also want to have these marks on yourself. But I haven't forgotten them, and I don't think I ever will, because those are going in the books as some of the best times of my life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And Brandon probably feels the same way when he was there.
Absolutely.
And he still feels like that now. And I don't, and that's one thing I don't really think, because my brother and sister, they did outdoor school, but it didn't impact them as much as it has on us. All three of us. I don't think it's made an impact on them like it has on us. And when I tell my mom, about these things, and I'm like, I just wish I could relive that one more time. One more.
Though, if there was one thing I could relive from outdoor school, it would be, without a doubt, making bungalows. I don't know if you guys did it, but I did it twice because I enjoyed it so much, and it was just making bungalows in the forest. We would get sticks and like not large, but like small logs and large sticks, and we would just build things out of those, out of that wood, and we would lean it on trees, connect from tree to tree, and use like moss as a floor, and it was super fun to just make something in the forest with like,
and just
yeah, it was,
and just to be free. It felt free.
yeah, because I think what I enjoyed, now that I think about it, the most out of outdoor school, I mean, sure, we kind of had that parental thing where, the counselors were always with us and keeping an eye on us, but they never really like told us what to do. They gave us something to do, and then we just did it and had fun. Now, of course, there was those kids that like got in trouble for doing X, Y, and Z and whatever. But I feel like the most enjoyable part was the freedom that I never had before. Like, and it was, the best feeling was, again, those bungalows. Like, they just told us, there was a river. They said, don't go past the river. You can go anything before that, and then just build whatever you want, build it wherever. And then when you hear this whistle, come back, and then we'll go do whatever we did next. And just that sense of freedom to go and build whatever I wanted was something I never had before, and I loved it so freaking much.
Yeah, it was. That's how I felt with, because you know how they would like switch you out through different biomes,
right,
and whatnot. One time I was like I was doing the biome marsh, and I think Carlos remembers this too. He remembers me coming back up to the cabin, caked in sand/mud, and
I remember.
What happened is I stood still for too long on the sand, and it became quicksand, and I started slowly sinking. And it got in my boots, and it came up to my kneecaps.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I didn't notice I was sinking until I had to look up at everybody, and I didn't notice it until I had to start looking up at people, and until this person who used to go by Milo, until Milo pointed out, Aiden's getting eaten by the earth. And like I had 3 counselors on me, like digging me out, while one of them has me by the arms, like pulling me out, while I had this face the whole time this was happening. And it was
great times all over,
without
a doubt. It's going down in the books.
It hits here,
right?
Yeah.
right here. Honestly,
I can't wait for my kids to do it, because I had such a good time doing it. I can't wait to hear what they built and what they did, and if they liked it, or it's one of those moments Like I feel like even now, like off the top of my head, I can't think of anything, but I'm sure you guys have those moments to where I can't wait until my kids allow me, or until my kids get to do some of the things I did when I was in school, and then you get to hear what
Yeah,
they thought of it. And
yeah, their experience of it.
yeah, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to as a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here, and that's one thing. I think we can all agree if and when we do, have kids or a family, it's to never be like our parents.
I feel like my parents did a pretty okay job. There's just a few things that I would do differently. And
Yeah, see, I'd switch some things up, give my
yeah,
twist on it.
yeah. Um, but I don't know. That feels like a pretty good closing into our regular conversation. I think it's time for some good news. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good news.
All right,
Good
Carlos.
news.
How about you go first, man?
All right. Me or our good friend Aiden?
Carlos, you.
Me. Okay. Sorry. Sorry if it's gonna sound a bit choppy. This is a great story, but I just got the whole entire conversation we just had just took me away from everything. Like I said, outdoor school. Mwah.
Yeah.
Sorry, but our good news is, well, first let me say it's I'm very conflicted with this good news. While it does have an incredible result and something that I'm extremely grateful that did happen, it also like conflicts with my ideas that technology is evil, that technology is the devil. Because in this story, technology saved a life, not just any life, but a dog's life. All right, let me tell you about our good friend, golden retriever pup Meadow, who was lost in the, I do believe it was in the woods, right? Yeah, in a wooded area, and Meadow was got lost, and there was a storm that they had forecasting, and it was ensuing, and it the family, they were putting up missing posters all over, and unfortunately, nobody could find Meadow. That was until they sent out a drone, I do believe it was a drone that actually found the cute little puppy herself. Um, and now they are together. And what a great story to hear. You know that, I mean, like I said, I've mentioned this before. I love dogs. Any dogs. I have one dog. My other one passed away, unfortunately. But it's always,
Rest in peace, little homie pup.
rest in peace, Ringo. Love you. But it's good to hear other people's success stories with their own animals. You know, like whenever like
Oh,
you hear that your homie like lost their pet but then found him the next day, it's like, yes, you feel happy. You're like, oh my god, because the poor fella didn't know, he didn't have a single clue what he was doing. To him, he was exploring the world with, he didn't make like a truck. To him is like whatever, that doesn't exist to me. But
Yeah.
we see it as like, oh my god, like I can't, that is your coffin is right there. Don't do that. Which is why this story was very special to me. And I like I said, I chose it because whenever you hear of an animal getting saved, or an animal and an owner reuniting, it's very heartfelt for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Meadow and I don't find it. I can't see a name, but if you're Meadows' companion, shout out to you.
Yeah. Aiden, you good?
Yeah, all good. Oh, wait, Aiden? Or,
Yeah, Aiden.
all right, are you? What's up?
Oh, do I have something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Well, it's about something here happening in the local, keeping it local.
Keeping it local.
Yeah, that's how I do it, supporting businesses. But this one is about the Christmas light fights we've been having here in Klamath. It's a sprawling Christmas display, and they gave out like cash rewards and everything, and everybody's just trying to, especially in these times, they're just trying to, keep that lively spirit up, and that's what they're doing here all around town, just putting up lights. People drive past them. I literally went like a couple days ago and went around and saw the lights with like my mother and my brother and whatnot. But no, what I found especially cool about this story is that they have an original Volkswagen Beetle from the 60s.
No
And
way.
nothing, yeah, 60s, 70s, like bordering 69 to 70, 1970. It has Santa Claus in the Volkswagen, and he has one arm
That's
like
cute.
this and one arm out the side. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but like that's it right there.
I can see it a little
But
bit.
That's
yeah, it's only a little though. But no, and this won the award for it. So whoever had the Volkswagen Beetle from like the 60s, props to you, man. And like way to go on winning that money, bro.
right. Yeah.
My story is a woman pretended to be a magical fairy in a little girl's fairy garden. So this is a story of a 4-year-old girl named Eliana, and she was feeling lonely uh, throughout the whole pandemic, obviously being like quarantined in her own house. And she created a fairy garden outside of her home in Los Angeles. So she built that, and then a local photographer uh, saw that the note she put on the side and said that she was having a tough time, and she decided to decorate some of it herself, and it was fairy themed. And then in that decoration, she gave the kid a treasure hunt, and at the end of the treasure hunt, the person who set up the whole thing wrote a note to Eliana, basically saying the whole thing is going to be better, and gave her a few fairy dice and fairy thises and that's to help her get through her loneliness. So yeah, it was. I just thought it
That's
was.
heartwarming.
I just thought it was a very interesting thing to where, um, someone would put that amount of time to help out a kid that she didn't even know. So yeah,
Mm.
that is my story.
Respect.
Respect. Yeah.
Respect. Yeah.
That's an interesting topic because I mean, yeah, I think that does come out of the good heart of somebody, but then again, maybe it has to do with somebody feeling the duty to, like I mentioned so many times before, entertain. You know, to put yourself, sacrifice yourself for the better of putting a smile on somebody's face. And
Mm-hmm.
for I'm spacing the name. What was the name of the fairy?
The daughter's name was Eliana.
Oh right, yeah,
Just the person who set up the whole thing was just a local photographer.
yeah,
There was no name.
yeah. But dude, my man's felt the duty, and he carried out. And to anybody out there, if you feel that there is something you must do for the better, that's for a reason that's way bigger than yourself, do it. All right, do it. It's these were dark times, and what matters now is that we do the best that we can.
Yeah.
So do the yeah. So
Yeah.
and give it your all.
Yeah. And
And with the year coming to an end here, it's getting more serious now. You
Mm-hmm.
know. So like I said, put yourself out there. Whether it's whether it's sending out an email or a letter to a distant relative or a former teacher you had, that's gonna put a smile on that person's face. So I encourage you, go out there, send the holiday spirit out wherever you can. Just send out the love.
always.
Yeah.
And another thing too, I want to add my little thing in here. Don't be afraid to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck what anybody thinks about you. Be yourself.
Yeah.
That's coming from somebody, who just I did a big move this year.
Oh, right.
I did.
Yeah, before we close anything, I'm sorry, Brandon, but I just want to say congratulations to my good friend Adin, who with fucking, oh my God, my man's has been more open about his sexuality, and he recently came out as bisexual. And it's so great to hear, man. I'm so proud of you. Fuck yeah.
I've had it bottled up for years, so I was like,
I actually didn't
why
know
not?
about that. That's good to hear.
Yeah, but well now you do.
Yeah, and it's, oh my God, it's like stuff like that just makes you think. It's like
Yeah.
don't want to get into like the shitty people who like frown upon all that stuff, but it's like it does make you think that like these people are wrong, because it's like somebody who associates themselves with the LGBTQ community. It's like they can be your best friend, and you don't even know that they do. Like you said, like you bottled it up, and it's like, oh my god, for that, fuck, I don't. There's huge respect for that, but also, how have things changed? Have you noticed, like once you become more open?
Well, I'm more open about it to a couple people. A couple people already know, but like, uh, there are some people I don't tell because I know how they're gonna react, and whenever I go to say something, they're like, "No, bro, I'm not gonna be mad at you. Why? What's up?" I'm like,
Right, yeah.
I'm like, I know how this goes. I know how this goes. But I'm more open about it. Like if anybody like asks me, I'm not gonna deny it. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I am. But no, I'm not gonna be ashamed of it. And that's one thing too is when I did tell somebody they got upset at me, and I was like, well, why are you upset at me? And they were like, well, everybody says that now. Everybody's bi, and I'm like, well, because some of it do that to cover up, other stuff. How they are, and how they, like some people just say they're bi just because they're like full blown gay, and they just don't. They just identify themselves with that. But I'm 50-50 in the middle. I love both genders equally. When both of them have their pros and cons. Everybody does. We're all human.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right,
yeah.
we're
That's
all
one.
human.
That's another thing. Yeah, yeah. That's one thing.
Right.
That's another thing people should take away from this is we're all human, and just because somebody differs from you doesn't mean you should try to shun them or separate them from the group or try to make them feel outed. Because not gonna lie, this a couple weeks back, I got kicked out of a group because apparently I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, but when really it was just bad leadership skills and the person who was in charge of its fault, So, but yeah,
Uh,
that's yeah.
and if you could give one piece of advice to whoever's out there, to whoever is scared of making such a brave deed, what would that be?
Here, hold up. I've been having that guitar in my lap like the whole thing. One thing I would say, advice-wise, is don't be me in where I bottled it up. Bottling it up is the worst thing you can do, and I still do that with a lot of things. But if you're scared of like telling your parents or something or whoever you feel close to, and they don't accept you, that's their loss. That's their fault. You move on without them because you're better than that.
That's pretty fucking good advice, to be honest.
That's fucking,
That's
yeah.
almost something I would tell. Like I'm a straight white dude, but if I was to come out and do the things that you did, I would say the same thing, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Wow.
that's and like this, and the reason why I say that is because like this, especially if like you're a young adult or teenager or whatever, now's your time. Now is your time to make the decisions that are going to impact your life later on.
Yeah.
Now is the goddamn time, especially to get like those horrible people out of your life. I recently had to split things off with my dad because him and I just didn't see eye to eye, and it sucked. But I don't have him in my life anymore, and he wasn't really treating me like a son. And same thing with a couple other friends; they weren't really treating me like a friend. So right now is your time to basically not seek out or assume, but to step back and look at your life right now and the people that are in it and really see if they're going to impact you later down the road or if they're going to better you or make you a better person or something like that, or if they're really your friend, or if they're really there for the long ride. And that's why I say if they don't agree with you or they don't like you for who you are or anything, fuck them. Move on.
Yep.
You're good without them.
That's what I did with
You
my
do
sister.
you.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
really?
my sister was just being a toxic person in my life. She was not a sister. She was just like a bully. And
Yeah.
I wasn't having it. She's no longer in my life. I don't care what happens to her. She can do whatever the fuck she wants.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna
Yeah. And
I'm
like,
not gonna poison my own life just because she gets off on it. Like it's
yeah.
stupid.
I'm not gonna put my happiness at somebody else's expense.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
Because
I get that.
yeah. Yeah. So like earlier, like when we first started, this whole thing, when I said, uh, working on yourself is the best thing. Like you said too, working on yourself is the best thing you could do right now. Work on yourself. Like right now, we're young adults. We're like 16, 17, whatever. But we're approaching life hard and fast.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to, learn how to do taxes, pay bills, budget, shit like that. I'm trying to be ready. I thought I supposedly was. So
I think
Well, whatever the. Wait, go ahead, Brandon.
I was just gonna say that I think that was a pretty good last act. I know we didn't like say we're gonna have it, but
Yeah.
I think that was a pretty good closing. But no, you can say what you're gonna say, Carlos.
I was just gonna say that I'm glad that we also went back to the topic of self care and like really, if there's any issues you have, like address them. Like you don't want to bottle them up. Whether it's something as personal as like coming out, like do it. Like and
Mhm.
and whether you fear losing somebody or whatever, it's like don't. If they're willing to jump ship on you, they're not worth
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
do you live
Mhm.
life to your fullest. Another great episode. I'm so thankful for having you today, Adin. I know Brandon and I were talking about bringing you on because
From the
you're
very
just
beginning.
from the very beginning. Like we were writing down, like, oh, who are our possible guests, and it's like Adin. That's our boy right there.
Well,
Yeah. So
I
I
thank you
mean,
for having me on here. Like honestly, I was looking forward to this all day. I was like, before I came on here, I was just like playing some games, and then Brandon was like, "All right, we're ready." I'm like, "Peace, bitches," and then like got off.
Yeah, no,
But
I'm
yeah,
very
and
happy that we got you to be a guest. I'm very happy for everybody else that we got to have a guest so far. And I'm looking forward towards the future of what we can do with this podcast. So, but I think
all right.
with that, that's a pretty good closing. Everybody
Mhm.
who has watched this far, thank you for watching an almost 2 hour episode. Um, that
Oh wow,
you're a trooper if you watch
you're a
this
trooper.
if you watch this far.
yeah,
But yeah, thank you for everybody for watching. Yeah, thank you, Adin, for being our guest. Thank you, Carlos, for making another wonderful episode with me. Yeah, thank you for watching Last Act. See ya.